we asked people what their priorities were. Here they added a zero trust, but generally, that's more philosophy. But we're talking about here is that the security is still the number one. Gen AI creeping up, real time streaming, data analytics. These are the top three priorities that we captured throughout last year. I'm going to double click on security in a little while, Steve. It's my favorite topic as well. But right now, I'm going to get through the standardized questions so we can have some time for that better conversation. But what we're going to ask now is, as you're looking forward through next year, what do you see amongst you and your peers as kind of the hottest trends for 2024 in enterprise technology?
Well, everybody's talking about AI, of course. We're taking a very conservative approach to it. We've already had some issues with folks using, like Chat GPT and stuff like that, and we've had to actually block it and just open it up to certain people. So, we're just trying to learn more about it, and we're never first to jump on new technologies at my company. We kind of let things let other folks work out the bugs and the issues, and then we'll kind of come on board it a little later.
Yes,
But
certainly. And we're following this with data, as you know, and we started back in April and asked, okay, everyone's talking about it, but are you using it? And 52% at that time said we're not even evaluating it. So it was all kind of headline hype, right? That, however, has dropped to only 26% saying they aren't, which means three-quarters of the people actually are evaluating it. And these are the areas they are. But it doesn't mean it's in production, because when we start asking people about whether or not it's in production, the numbers are actually quite low. So I don't think you're alone in taking a conservative approach, Steve.
yeah, there are some valid use cases, but it's just not something that we want to open up widely to the entire company for use. But
Certainly,
it could put us at risk as well.
certainly. Any other trends that you'd want worth mentioning as we look out for the calendar year that might pop up?
Just continued move to the cloud. I mean, more and more companies are shrinking their physical footprint, post. I see a lot of post COVID, a lot more work from home, a lot of companies shrinking their physical footprint within their facilities, whether they're closing down sites or shrinking the footprint of their corporate office, trying to move more equipment or more applications out to the cloud, shutting down server rooms, reducing spend, facilities type spend. So just more and more cloud computing.
All right, I appreciate that. So security, Gen I, and cloud seem to be the priorities. Now, if you had to say on the inverse, what's the most overhyped trends that you hear about or just don't think really are relevant at the current moment?
Well, cloud computing's a tricky topic. I mean, I think that a lot of folks at the executive and board level think that, the more you move to the cloud, the less on premise, or the smaller your IT team can be, or maybe eliminate IT completely. But it's not the case at all. You're just taking stuff out of your building and putting it in another building, basically.
I agree with that. We do an annual cloud survey as well, if you ever want to dig into here, Steve, but it's showing what the cloud workloads will be from today and into 3 years. This is astonishing to me that in the 91 to 100% bucket, 13% say they're already there. 28% of our respondents said that they plan to be there. The funny part is, I've been watching this for 10 years. The anticipation always outweighs the reality. And the truth is, we've been tracking this for so long, and this is showing kind of the lag where people always say, oh, yeah, in 3 years, I'm going to have 40%. And then we go back and we ask them, how much do you actually have? And they're like, oh, 18. So people keep expecting that their cloud workloads are going to grow more than they actually do grow it. I'm curious, is that a trend that makes sense to you? Does the data that we're tracking on that over time make any sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think small companies, it's pretty easy for them, but mid to larger size companies, especially companies that have grown by acquisition and have a lot of legacy applications to deal with, that stuff isn't as easily moved to the cloud. I
Mhm.
mean, you can't get, software as a service for some of this legacy stuff. So there is going to be an on-premise uh, environment for a lot of people for a lot of years.
Yeah, and there is also obviously private cloud. You don't have to use the public cloud. You don't have to use one of those giant three infrastructure as a service ones. The ones that do get used, we continue to see here on vendor usage still tend to be Azure and AWS by a large measure. And then we're seeing, more. I think Oracle's doing a pretty good job. SAP's doing a really good job, particularly with their industry cloud offerings that are focused a little bit more specific vertically. Just
Right.
curious your thoughts on for those that are moving to the cloud, where do you see the winners and losers?
Well, I mean, I do agree that, folks like Oracle and SAP, having their own cloud and running their own application makes perfect sense. We're actually looking at that as well, because we have an on-premise Oracle environment now. So we may move that out to Oracle's cloud, or we may even move to SAP, but the project's kind of on hold right now, given budgets. I think the bigger issue is sticker price, sticker shock. Moving stuff out to the cloud is not cheap. I mean, we're spending a lot of money on AWS, especially because of our industry. We're working in the government level AWS cloud. The same with Microsoft and Azure. We're working at the government level Office 365 environment, which is much more expensive. So, although we've been able to move to the cloud, there are benefits of that, faster provisioning of new users, etc., unlimited resources, but it comes at a cost.